So start slow, work things out one things at a time. There's five things that people can do, which are just very simple. One is switching from conventional foods to all organic. You can do
Yeah.
that one step at a time. Do little things so that you can see how you feel. Next, you can do filtering and structuring your water, even if you got, for example, a copper cup or something like that, just so that you can help bring back that water. Next, you can turn off the Wi-Fi and hardwire your devices so that you're not pinging frequencies all the time.
Mm.
Next, you can move towards wearing natural materials like linen, which do not gather static, or wool or cashmere or hemp, because that's what our water of our body is supposed to be wearing. And then last but not least, it's just barefoot grounding, and just try the five, just start with one at a time and just kind of do one thing a little bit at a time and see how you feel. Because the magic is once you start doing one, you're like, okay, now I do the next one and everything else. And then you start to go, well, this was so simple. I wish I would have known this XYZ ago, X whatever years. But that's the thing is I've started to realize that all this stuff is very simple.
Yeah.
It's been overly complicated with like 8,000 terms that don't even mean anything. When in reality, I've learned our bodies are just craving energy, and the right conductivity. And when we have the right conductivity and right energy, we heal. When we don't, we fall apart. It's so simple. So with just doing those five, I guarantee you'll feel like a different person.
I love it. Now, I am such a big fan of the barefoot, even though it's really cold at the moment doing it outside, but it makes such a difference. And that's something that every single person can do wherever they are. And again, one of my missions in my previous role is people who've got horses to really consider getting their shoes taken off, because animals need to ground as much as we do. So again, if you've got animals, if it's you've got rabbits or guinea pigs or something, make sure they can get on real earth. And if they can't, you bring nature to them. If they can't get out in nature, it's your job as their caregiver to bring nature to them. So things like this are so simple. Look at children. Most children love running around barefoot, normally naked. They don't feel the hot, they don't feel the cold. And if we can go back to some of those things that we innately did when we were younger, we'd sort a lot of the problems out, wouldn't we?
100%. And if you watch, like you said, children or animals, they
Mm.
do everything correctly. Even the animals, like you said, they will lead you to the food, the water.
Yeah.
There was one document I read, remember, with Phil Callahan. He said, like, if you're ever hungry, just follow the birds. They'll show
Yes.
you exactly where the food is. They'll find it for you. So we just have to go back to connecting to that. And that's the other part. The more we connect to nature and the more we disconnect from the constant, notifications and pinging of nonsense to lower our frequencies, the better off we'll be overall as a society. Because, a lot of these things, they want us, consuming all this nonsense and keeping us distracted with all these terms. But in reality, everything's very simple. If you look at nature, everything is very simple. So we have to go back to that and then connect to that, the inner child or even the animals. And we're meant to be with all of this. I mean, that's the same thing. I sit here and feed chipmunks like every single day. They're
Oh,
adorable, and they just come around. Now they're all coming around. There's like packs of them and everything. But, it's just we're meant to be connected to everything around us. And also, everything around us needs help too,
yeah.
including the animals. Even these birds that are out here, they also need assistance. It's not just us. And, that's the ego. But we need to take care of our plants, the animals, and everything that's around us. And it's just, we have to take action on these things.
Yeah, I love it. And taking action is really, really key. And I love that you said just start somewhere with things. So one of the things I want to ask you about is on a personal level, with the journey you've been on over the last few years, what do you think you've learned most about yourself, Matt?
Well, I've learned that, I guess I would say how much my personality has changed in such a, short amount of time, and just how many things can change and how we can do so much. It's kind of like this. When I first started talking about electroculture and all the little videos and whatever else I put out there, people started trying it. And it's pretty much kind of just going absolutely crazy. I've had so many people send me messages of giant beets and tomatoes
Yeah.
and oranges and all kinds of things. And it really made me realize that just doing one thing, which was just creating one video and putting it out there and just talking about it, can help change so many people. And it really just blew my mind that how much we could be helping all one another with using these platforms. That's what this is pretty much, in my opinion, what it should be used for. We can be educating, people can be talking about their skills, talents, anything. and all these beautiful things. But I guess in the short amount of time, it's just shown me that, you know, it gets like endless, the amount of things we can learn, the amount of information that's out there, the amount of things we can dabble into, you know, and we're put into such a box. You know, even when I had my health ailments, I was put in such a box that it made me depressed, and it made me, you know, not feel good and not feel myself. When in reality, it's like, I just fix it like this. There's so much information out there. You just have to take the initiative. So I think overall, it just showed me in a short amount of time, I would say like the last like 8 to 10 years, that it's just a total flip. And we can all be doing that. It just takes the initiative, like you said, to get to that point, and then just one thing at a time. And one thing leads to another, and it's beautiful, because I've realized is we need to have our health, because our health is our wealth. If we don't take care of our health, we can't help other people, we can't help each other, you know, and it also impacts your house. You know, if you're not feeling well, it impacts you, your let's say your husband, your wife, your kids, your animals. You know, it's all a full circle. And you know, the one thing that we all own is our health, and we can take full charge with that. So I guess that kind of, in the last 8 to 10 years, it's really taught me that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I've got a family member who's been ill and has been under hospital care recently, and it's been a real shock to the system, because I've sort of created this sort of like little oasis where I'm out in the middle of the woods, surrounded by animals. My lifestyle is out and about most of the day. And then when I had to step into normie land and be in this, it was so shocking to see. I can really see how people, when they're caught in that cycle, get really dragged down into fear mode. But because that's how the medical professionals, and a lot of them are actually really, really well-meaning, it's how they've been taught and what their current belief systems are. So even on the alternative media map, there's still, we know that AI, the algorithms, you know, people are controlling what's in people's feeds all the time. I mean, the amount of times I get people stuff saying to me, oh, I didn't think you were still doing videos. I haven't seen you for a couple of years. You're like, I've been doing 4 a week, you know. So every single one of us is still having, however much we try and remove it, still having sort of some level of control over the information we've got.